Welcome to Honest Whispers Review. On this video I'll be reviewing Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Destiny ZGMF-1000/A1 Gunner Zaku Warrior 1/100 scale figure. It's piloted by Lunamaria Hawke. It comes with a little cell figure stand. And this was a model kit that was released by Bandai back in 2005. It is actually Seed Destiny number 3 of the series. I just did a review on the Blaze Zaku Phantom, which was number 4. Seed Destiny number 4 of the series. Now I'm going to go over 5 different categories to review this. This is a model that I assembled and I did detailing myself. As you can see, there was no paint done to it, but it does come with some decals, which I'll go over. First category is design, which covers the look, closeness of the robot to the anime or the original design, and the articulation as well. And as far as articulation, it's pretty much like any 1/100 scale Gundam or Zaku model kit. You have articulation on the neck, shoulders, the arms right there where it rotates, or basically where the bicep is, and then you have double joints on the elbow, and basically, well, actually I'm sorry, it's a single joint, but the knee is double jointed, which I got kind of mixed up. You have the wrist, waist, legs, which are ball joints, and then ankles. And again, the significance of a joint, a double jointed knee, basically it folds right there on the upper knee and it folds right there on the lower knee. And the cool thing about that is that you are allowed to do very cool poses, like where he's kneeling down, or I guess in this case would be she, since it's a female pilot, and the mobile suit itself, I guess, is supposed to be a feminine version. And the reason why is you could see some subtle differences. There's a lot of similarities to this Zaku and the Blaze Zaku Phantom, but you'll see some small differences. Of course, the weapon and the backpack itself is a huge difference, but one thing I wanted to point out on the masculinity and the femininity of the Zaku, they took out the horn on her head, or the little antenna. So on the Blaze Zaku Phantom you have one, and then you don't, so on her you don't. So to me, I thought that was kind of a significant difference. Of course, the shoulders are different. Now, she does have the same shield like the Blaze Zaku Phantom, but the Blaze Zaku Phantom actually has 2, so it's like symmetrical. This one, it comes with her right shoulder is like a horn, but it makes sense because, as you can see, the design of the robot is supposed to kind of have that. And that's always nice too, because you have the shield that it's on a ball joint, and right here is on a ball joint. So you could have it rotated, tilted, many different angles. Even right here you have it on the side and tilted upward. Obviously, if you have it perfectly down, it'll probably be hitting the ground. So they put a lot of thought, design, and when you make one of these, the engineering is just so awesome, the way it turns out. For instance, on the legs, that's a plastic hose that you won't see on Gundams, because this is more of a Zaku trademark. And because it's not, the way they designed it, it's not attached to anything, it's just kind of locked in there just by a bigger, like a bigger, what is it, an end. Like they have this, so basically, like when I fold the legs or bend the knee, it doesn't get in the way, the plastic doesn't, get stuck or it doesn't fold. It's very smooth and nicely done. And on the backpack, you can see from the ammo pack to the gun, or basically from the backpack to the gun, you have this red hose, and that's fabric. So the way they incorporated fabric into a plastic model, very well thought out, very clever, and it works better this way than maybe a thin, like a soft plastic that's bendable or flexible. I think it looks cleaner this way, and it just puts a better quality to it. Now, there is a small minor flaw design compared to Gundams. The hands don't, or the fingers don't fold out. So for this one, in order for you to switch or change guns, you can see here there's a seam line on his hands or her hands. So that and part of the thumb would detach, and then you would either unarm it or put one of these, the beam tomahawk or the machine gun, and then you would reattach the outside hand. Now, it is a hassle to change weapons, arm and unarm this mobile suit, but one plus side of it, which I forgot to mention on the Zaku Blaze, or the Blaze Zaku Phantom, is that it does create a lot of stability. So unlike a Gundam, after you move it around, it might loosen up and it'll end up dropping the weapon it's holding. But in this case, once you attach the hand, it's pretty much stable. Like, it's not gonna fall off. So I guess it depends on the person's preference. For me, it goes either way, but if I had to choose, I would probably rather go with the bendable fingers. And also, one more flaw is that due to the weight of the gun, when you have it folded up, for instance right here would be an example. So right here in the front, it folds in, and then right here in the back, it folds in, and then the gun itself will swivel up here and then fold down. So basically, when you do that, it looks cool, but only thing is, when you have the gun, if you wanted to kind of have it straight, because of the weight of the gun, the joint's just not stiff enough, and it'll just kind of like find its weight, or it'll just lean due to its weight and gravity. So I think that's a minor flaw, and it's the joint right here that's attaching from the backpack to the gun. Now, I know that could be a break point because you're trying to move, adjust, and make everything fit when you're trying to pose. But I think they could have thought it out a little bit better. If not a stiffer joint or a stiffer connection, then maybe, because it's basically like two forks connecting, so it's not that stiff. I would have maybe went for one of the soft plastic joints that's usually used like on the arms, shoulders, and wrist. So something like that I might have used just to make it a little bit more stiffer and make sure that it holds. So due to that, I'm going to give the design a 9 out of 10. Next category is sculpting, which also covers the molding. And for those that might not be aware of model kits, basically the pieces come in like a plastic sheet. They're all plastic, colored plastic. There's no paint or anything. So if I cut the red piece, basically, like if I cut it in half or break it in half, the inside all the way through would be red. Now you might have one sheet that's like a mix. They just kind of attached it together. Number 12 is an example of the translucent pink piece, or the blade, or the beam part of the tomahawk. So when you take it off, I mean, all the pieces, didn't have any problems with any of the piece breaking where they shouldn't. Now, one thing about that is that it might leave like a little plastic bump. So one thing I always take time on is I make sure I shave everything off so that everything is smoothed out. Back of the gun would be an example right here. You can see that little white dot, but of course I shaved it off so you don't see a bump when you look from the side. Or you know, and one of the reasoning for that, for me to make sure everything is smooth right here on the top of the backpack would be an example, is because right there, like if the plastic's a bit deformed or it has a bump, it might get in the way. So usually I always smooth it out so I make sure that all the pieces fit perfectly. And also once it's fit or once it's assembled, I want to make sure that the piece doesn't get in the way of like a joint or anything like that. So the sculpting and the molding itself, everything fit great. There was no loose piece or anything like that, especially on this particular Zaku. I'm sure not all of them are the same, but at least for mine, everything's nice. I never played or displayed this before. Once I made it, I kept it in storage. And so all the joints are very stiff. Other than this little joint right here in the middle that I mentioned, just because of its weight and the way you attach it, it's just not stable as any of the other joints that's assembled. So I give the sculpting score on this a 10 out of 10. Next category is painting. As I mentioned before, there is no paint done to this. These are all plastic, colored plastic. Not color coded, but the plastic itself. They use color material. So basically, the only thing other than my detailing that I used with an official Gundam marker, and on this the detailing wasn't too hard. There wasn't too many lines to detail, and at the same time most of the lines were indented. So that always makes it easy, and at the same time, once you're done and put some effort into it, it comes out very clean, as if like a professional drew it on there. Now, I don't call myself a professional, but I do put in the effort and the time. I do get a bit OCD, so for example, I always make sure the line on the right leg are just as thick, just as straight as the lines on the left leg, because I get kind of OCD with that. And I always want to make sure everything's symmetrical, so I always erase the line if I make a slight mistake to it. So as you can see, even up close, you really won't see any mistakes. Even right there on the top of the head, I always like how clean it comes out like that. And everywhere. Now, I didn't finish it completely. On the black, I didn't want to do it just because you really can't see it too much. But if you do actually do it, I may one day take the time and do it. And you'll see a subtle difference. It's really hard to tell, especially far away, but the slight subtle difference does make a difference. And one area I didn't do also is the gun. So if I at least had one side done and the other side, if I didn't do it, I could at least show you the difference. A lot of these lines you could see are already indented, so it does show the details itself through the shadow. But I assure you, if you do take the time to do the details, it will definitely make a difference. So for me, the painting's pretty much at least the color wise, the colors are pretty much perfect. It's dead on with the anime and the show. They didn't change any color or anything like that. And at the same time, this is the decals that it came with. Unlike the Blaze Zaku, you have a couple decals here on the gun, or actually a few, because you have this circle decal right here with little silver reflectors. All the ends of the hand grenades are decals, so that white line right there, they're like stickers. And then basically this red line on the ammo pack, that is a sticker as well. But unlike the Zaku, unlike the Blaze Zaku Phantom, it's basically all of them are proportionately the right size. They fit perfectly on the surface that they're supposed to apply to. So for me, although it's a bit of a, I guess due to the slightly unfinished detailing, but other than that, the decals and everything else fit perfectly. So in this case, I would go ahead and give this a 9 out of 10 on the painting. But it's pretty much perfect, to be honest with you. I mean, if I finished the gun detailing, I would have just went ahead and gave it a perfect 10 out of 10. But either way works for me. But I just wanted to mention that at least the stickers, the coloring of the plastic, everything is dead on. So I'm very happy with that. Next category is value. Now, with like plastic model kits, there really isn't much aftermarket value on these unless they're one of those exclusive limited version that's only like well, not a handful, but only like a limited supply is made and they don't reproduce. A lot of these standard ones, they'll end up repackaging. Like it'll be, they'll just get a new box, but everything inside from like the plastic pieces and everything would be the same. So due to that, a lot of these don't go too much up in value. But a professionally made mobile suit would, like a model kit, would definitely have its aftermarket value. I've seen stores and other places where they have a professionally made Gundam or something like this in 1/100 scale, listed or priced at upwards towards like as high as $150, $125, or even $100. I've seen. So for this, I'm not saying I'm a professional, but I did build a lot of these to a point where I could pretty much, at least detailing wise, I could, given the time, although I do take a lot of time, I would definitely, I wouldn't be ashamed to compare this to like a professionally detailed and assembled mobile suit. And in that comparison, I think this originally came out, the retail price was around like $35, $40. In my opinion, I think I could probably resell this, especially if I finish the gun and stuff, at least closer to $100. Definitely double the price, because when you add up all the time that I put in, not just assembling, but shaving off the plastic, detailing the pieces individually before I assemble them and all that stuff, even the stickers and the decals, there's a lot of man hours put into this. And even if you pay minimum wage on that man hour, it would probably be easily over 200 dollars or so. Like, in other words, I mean, even if I got paid $10 an hour, I probably would have exceeded 20 hours anyways. So that's really my point I'm trying to make. So due to that, Uh, and believe me, if it was unpainted, undetailed, or anything like that, it's pretty much crap value in my opinion. So due to the I guess the time and effort I put onto this, I would value this at 7 out of 10. So overall, accounting for all the scores prior to this category, design, sculpting, painting, and value, I have to say this is one of my favorite Zaku's favorite model kits that I own and assembled. I think it's cool. It has a uniqueness to it. Unlike all other Zaku's, it does have this unique gun that unfolds, and it's like taller or longer than the height of the mobile suit itself. Yeah, there isn't much Gundam or Zaku's with this kind of gun and design. So I really like it, especially with the red hose, like the cloth-like hose. I think that always makes it cool. And overall, I didn't have any issues with this. No joints, or even while assembling, there wasn't a piece that didn't fit right or anything like that. So everything turned out well. So due to that, I'm going to go ahead and give the overall score a 9 out of 10. So to recap, design, 9 out of 10. Sculpting, 10 out of 10. Painting, 9 out of 10. Value, 7 out of 10. And overall, 9 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Until next time, you could try building a model yourself.